Narrative skills check for 6th grade. Okay, first you have a double story arc. I'm going to read the external events and the internal conflict. External. Vivian's family is searching for something to do in Colorado. Adventurous. Decide to go whitewater rafting. Internally, she's nervous, wants to make sure it's safe. Next event. Sign up for beginner course. Hear about a man thrown out of his raft on the radio. Internally, terrified, wants to back out, doesn't want to let family down. Third event, question mark. Third event, internally, panic attack. Fourth event, blinded by water splashing in their faces. The boat goes off course to the level 6 expert. Miss their turn. Internally, terrified, has to find a way to calm herself and focus. Fifth event, guides shout orders. Everyone follows orders. Internally, question mark. Sixth event, safely maneuver to the side of the meeting point. Van takes them back to Adventure Center. Internally, relief. Vivian is proud of herself for getting through it. Directions. The author has planned a story using a double story arc. However, when she went to write her story, there are parts that are underdeveloped. Read her story arc and underdeveloped story. Then answer the questions that follow to show how she could improve areas of her writing. Vivian and her family are on a trip in Colorado, near Denver. She is excited to be in Colorado for the first time with her family. She thinks to herself, this landscape is breathtaking and beautiful. Vivian, her mom, dad, and brother are adventurous and love the outdoors. They spend the first few days of their trip hiking and driving on the scenic byway. When they search for adventures to do in the Denver area, it's a unanimous, well, almost unanimous, decision to go whitewater rafting. Vivian's brother thought to himself, Vivian is always the one who keeps us from doing fun things. He wondered if she was going to keep their family from experiencing this whitewater rafting adventure together. Vivian, you just need to give it a try. It is going to be really fun, Vivian's brother encouraged. I really do want to try. I'm just really nervous. I want to make sure we are all safe, Vivian replied. They sign up for the beginner course at Colorado Adventure Center on the Clear Creek River. While in the car on their way to breakfast, an already nervous Vivian hears a radio broadcast of a man that was thrown out of his raft while whitewater rafting at none other than Colorado Adventure Center, on the very course her family is signed up for. Vivian was already questioning the safety, and now, after hearing the news of the man that was thrown out, she is terrified. She wants to back out, but knows it will let her very excited family down. Rising action event number 2, question mark. 15 minutes into whitewater rafting, and Vivian knew she had made a major mistake agreeing to go on this adventure. The boat kept rocking back and forth, and as they went over different rocks and rapids, the front of the boat tipped down and took on water. Each time, the water would hit them in the face as they had to try to keep their paddles in the water and steer the boat. I can't see, Vivian yelled, trying to clear the freezing cold river water from her face. Keep your paddles in the water, the guide yelled constantly at them. With each hit of water, Vivian was sure the boat was going to flip over or sink completely. How could this be the beginner course? She thought to herself. Ah! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! She heard the panic in the guide's voice. We just missed our turn to stay on the beginner course. We are headed straight to level 6 rapids. Vivian knew from the video that level 6 rapids were meant only for the most experienced rafters, not new people like her family. The guides on Vivian's boat shouted orders for everyone to follow. Everyone focused intently on the orders. Vivian could feel the pull of the rushing water beneath her. They get knocked around until eventually the water calms and they are back on the right course. Vivian knows she has to remain calm in order to stay safe and get to safety. They safely maneuver to the side of the river in the clearing. As they pull off, they see the transport van waiting to take them to the Colorado Adventure Center. Vivian has never been so relieved to be back on dry land. Relief washes over Vivian. She is so proud of herself for accomplishing something so difficult. Realistic fiction skills check. Question number 1. What does the author need to add to her story to develop the exposition in a stronger way? A. The reader does not know enough about Vivian, so more character descriptions need to be added. B. There is no suspense in the exposition, so the author should add the Magic 3 technique. C. The author should use red flag words to transition throughout the different scenes. D. The setting is completely unknown in the passage, so the author needs to add setting details. Part A. Number 2. The author is working on adding a second rising action event to the double story arc. Think about the progression of the story arc. Which rising action event would move the story forward and best fit the internal conflict for the second rising action spot on the arc? A. The family takes pictures before getting into the raft. The guide shows a safety video. B. The guide explains safety procedures, explains water levels are higher than normal, creating dangerous rafting conditions. C. Vivian and her family have to decide if they want to spend the extra money on booties and a wetsuit to keep their feet and bodies warm while rafting. D. Vivian's boat is floating down the river. They enjoy the beautiful scenery of the Rocky Mountains. Part B. Based on the rising action event you picked for Part A, which developed scene would best fit for the second rising action event of the story? A. The day of the rafting adventure arrives, and Vivian gets to the center to get suited up. The guide goes through safety procedures. The most important rule you need to remember when you're out on the raft is this. If you get thrown out of your raft, lean face to the sky and float on your back. If you try to put your feet down, it is likely that your feet will get caught on rocks and the current will push you forward, making you unable to breathe. If that happens, you could injure yourself, or worse, drown. The guide continues to tell them that since 10 inches of snow had fallen in the mountains the previous weekend, the rapids were stronger than normal. All of the snow had melted, and the runoff has made the water levels rise. Because of this, the beginner course is now more like an intermediate level because of the strong currents and the extra water created. In 2, 3, out, 2, 3, Vivian tells herself. B. After hearing of the man on the radio, Vivian is nervous to jump in the raft when they arrive at the Colorado Adventure Center. She gets suited up and they take their place in the raft. As the guide pulls the boat into the river, Vivian looks around and sees the breathtaking scenery around her. The snow-capped Rockies are so close she could almost reach out and touch them. Mom, look at the gorgeous Rockies. I have never seen such a beautiful landscape in my life. C. Everyone, get in for the picture. the guide tells us. We want you to have this memory of your trip for years to come. Vivian's family all squeezed together in front of the log cabin information center. 1, 2, 3, snap! Next, we are going to move inside the information center to watch a quick safety video before getting into the rafts and starting our journey down the river. D. On the day of the rafting adventure, Vivian and her family head up to the counter at the Colorado Adventure Center. They see all kinds of windbreaker jackets, boots, and wetsuits available to rent. The girl working the counter tells them that the water is a cold 37 degrees and that they might want some of these items to stay warm while rafting. "What do you think, honey?" her dad asks. "It seems really expensive, but that is really cold water. I think it might be a good idea." "We will rent the boots and wetsuits," Dad says, turning back to the girl at the counter. Number 3, the author did not include internal feelings for the character in the falling action event. Think about the falling action event listed on the double story arc. Which internal feeling would best fit the scene? A. She is terrified and wants to back out. B. She feels embarrassed but still speaks up for herself. C. She is disappointed in herself that she never faced her fear. D. She finds inner strength to overcome her fear. Number 4, highlight the sentences where the author slips out of third-person limited point of view. When they search for adventures to do in the Denver area, it's a unanimous, almost unanimous, decision to go whitewater rafting. Vivian's brother thinks to himself, "Vivian is always the one who keeps us from doing fun things." He wonders if she was going to keep their family from experiencing this whitewater rafting adventure together. "Vivian, you just need to give it a try. It's going to be really fun," Vivian's brother encourages. "I really want to try. I'm just really nervous. I want to make sure we are all safe," Vivian replies. Number 5, which passage could the author use to transition the reader from one scene to the next, moving time forward? Select the 2 choices that could apply. A. Vivian was very nervous. She couldn't decide if she wanted to whitewater raft or not. She decided to do it. B. As the sun beat overhead and the water walked, the family safely maneuvered to the side of the river by the clearing. C. Vivian thought back to her adventurous ziplining through Costa Rica. When she got up to the ziplining rope, she was so scared that she almost didn't go through with it. She got the courage to fly, and at the end, she was so glad that she took the leap. This memory helped her get the courage to get on that boat and whitewater raft. D. Vivian's family loved adventure. They couldn't wait to whitewater raft. It would be their greatest adventure yet. Number 6. The author added this passage to her draft. What techniques did the author use to improve the development of the setting? As Vivian's family wrapped up a day of hiking in the woods, they cruised through the Colorado countryside, down the historic scenic byway. The family looked out the SUV window to take in Mother Nature's beauty. The vast landscape was absolutely breathtaking. It seemed like it was right out of the song America the Beautiful. The sun-setting, spacious skies were a colorful backdrop to the purple mountains' majesty, and amber waves of grain blended in with the horizon. Vivian rolled her window down and takes a deep breath of the fresh and crisp western air. "What is our next adventure, Mom?" Vivian asked. "How about we give whitewater rafting a try?" Everyone in the car shot their hand quickly into the air with excitement. As Vivian's hand went up, she started to have some doubts about the safety of this excursion. A. The author uses dialogue to help us see how the characters act in the setting. B. The author uses internal thinking to help us see what the author thinks about being in the setting. C. The author uses hyperboles and idioms to help us visualize the setting through figurative language. D. The author utilizes the senses to help the reader visualize the setting. D. Which of these endings could the author use to conclude the story in a way that provides an ending which follows the narrated experiences or events in their story? A. They safely maneuver to the side of the river in the clearing. As they pull off, they see the transport van waiting to take them back to Colorado Adventure Center. Vivian has never been so relieved to be back on dry land. Relief washes over Vivian. She is so proud of herself for accomplishing something so difficult. B. The boatload of family and friends safely maneuvers to the side of the river in the clearing. Suddenly, as they pull off, they see the transport van awaiting their return. It is waiting to take them back to the Colorado Adventure Center where this excursion first began. Vivian could not remember a moment when she had been more relieved to be back on dry land. Relief, like a warm blanket, washed over Vivian. She was more than proud of herself for accomplishing such a difficult task. She had had her doubts, but she had stuck to her guns and given the whitewater rafting adventure a try. In the end, she was glad that she had been brave enough to step out of her own comfort zone. C. Summer vacation was at an end and Colorado had delivered. The most memorable moment to be remembered was zipping down the Clear Creek River and over the rapids. Our family survived the Clear Creek River whitewater experience. It was a fun vacation. Vivian's family had never seen those sights, nor had they experienced whitewater rafting. They enjoyed experiencing this trip together as a family. The Colorado Adventure Center continued to welcome new families to their business to help them experience more family fun. The Clear Creek River continued to flow, its rapids churning and pushing new families down its course. D. The nerves had passed. The vacation was actually fun, and Vivian was super excited that her family had the opportunity to try it out. Whitewater rafting had turned out to not be as intimidating as Vivian had first thought. The Clear Creek River had delivered in an awesome way.